we're having this conversation.
All right. Okay. Oh, I gotta share you.
You want it?
No, I don't need it.
I gotta share co-host. Widget, yes. Okay. Okay, so why don't we approve the minutes while Gidget's getting signed, I mean, excuse me, approve the agenda. I mean, does anybody want to add anything else other than us trying to finish the ordinance? All right, somebody want to make a motion to approve that?
I'll move. And I'll
Okay,
second.
Motion made and seconded by Gidget. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, great.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
Dave did and Gidget seconded. Okay, moving on to the agenda, I think we're to operations, right, everybody?
Yeah, we were gonna add a section in.
Of operations of ATV,
Yeah.
right? And that.
Sorry.
Mhm.
I was just gonna suggest that we think about making, instead of worrying about wordsmithing every single word, that instead that we write it in a language that conveys the intent of what we're trying to do, so that it can be then drafted by a lawyer who will make sure that we don't have words that are ambiguous or contrary to terms of art or anything like that. So
All right, so that's what we can do, like, so let's just start and try to see what we can come up with, right? So like saying ATVs may not be operated within the city or, or on town highways or single file. That's what we were talking about in this section. And then they can determine on how that language should be. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, like, it's instead of stressing on, do we use this word or that word, that instead we write it in plain language that says this is what we wanted to say, so that it can be interpreted.
Okay, sure.
Just an idea, because
Yeah.
I know last time there was a lot, should it be this word or that word?
Yeah,
Not
like
necessarily.
sunset and all these other things. Okay, all right. So with that in mind, I'm happy to start off with, I'm looking at the information that we got from Newport, which is saying like all posted speed limits and traffic control devices on town highways shall apply to the operation of ATVs. I mean, you guys just want to do general things like that and helmets and single file line, that's what they have under here? Or does anybody else have other stuff, like hand signals are required to indicate all turns and stops in the absence of street legal turn signal lights?
I didn't know if we would just reference the statute for some of that stuff, but then the ones that we really want to point out, put them in this section. Like definitely the helmets and the registered insured, the VASA.
And is that the one that we put right at the bottom of section 8 then, pursuant to 350610?
Actually, well, I don't know if it was 10. I know it was 3506.
Well, that's
Where
what
some of these were.
burial.
I don't, it's funny because 3506 says operation prohibited acts, financial responsibility headgear. That's what 3506 says. So I don't know where 10 is. Okay, that is 10 within a cemetery. So that's this. So I don't know then how you, because there's a couple pages.
About the Vermont statute,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
subset 3506. You're saying reference that?
Yeah,
And
And then just put the
highlight
most
some of the
important
ones that-
things that we really want people to focus on versus, because I don't think anyone's gonna go look this up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't be a defense.
No,
Yeah,
I,
3506 doesn't actually talk about the rules of the road, other than saying that, if you're not a licensed driver, you have to be, if you're under 16 and you can only cross roads instead of driving on them, which I researched after a conversation a couple weeks ago, Dave. But there's nothing in here about, in 3506 about, well, I take that back. There is actually, if you look, get it in 3506 16.
Just as at locations where ATV must be registered,
Mhm.
yeah.
Properly secure protective headgear. Properly secure protective headgear, those two sections.
Well, so do you guys want to do that? Reference that section and then pull out some of the key ones we want to do?
The speed limit has to be, we have to post that in ours.
I think if you reference 3506,
We
that
can,
covers everything.
But there is no speed limit in 3506.
No, 15 miles.
Right. Well, we've already covered, it. Didn't we cover somewhere in here already? Didn't we set
I
a
think we said
speed
20,
limit?
Right,
I
I'm
was
just saying
saying
that
unless
they
other
would need to keep that.
Yeah,
unless otherwise posted
but,
20.
yeah. Anything that's not in here specifically, I'd see.
I didn't see in there about,
35.
Newport has it about the exhaust system not being cut out or bypassed. I mean, I think that will help keep the noise down. I don't know who does that, but I do know some people that have, not on ATVs, on dirt bikes.
That's
Yeah.
also in section 16 of 3506.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's.
Could be.
That seems to cover pretty extensive
Pretty much
amount.
Safety
everything.
issue is what it is.
So do you guys just want to put that?
Yeah,
Operation of ATV pursuant to 23 VSA subsection 3506, period?
I would say
Yes,
Title 23, Chapter 31 covers every, I mean, that's a state law. It covers
Yeah,
everything.
right.
all right. All right.
And I would think if we reference that,
We're covering all the stuff
Covered
that
everything
we're
that's-
saying
yeah.
about valid driver's license and operators and the noise.
Everything
Nothing's
else we
in
were
there.
gonna talk about.
Oh, then, all right.
So how do I do it? Then I just write chapter 13 as.
Title 23, Chapter 31.
Chapter 31, whoops, I heard 13.
Is this the one where we added the
That's under,
phrase who was passed the VASA exam?
But I don't. do the
no,
little-
that's definitions. and
No,
everything.
3506. so I
Oh,
need
so
to-
what is that?
With any operator under 16, the operator who was passed the VASA exam.
Maybe we should fix that up there.
Right, but actually, when I went and looked that up, Peter, the state law says that you have to be
Is
a
that how it should be?
licensed vehicle operator to actually ride on the roads. You can cross town highways and state town highways if you're not 16, if you're in the supervision of somebody who's licensed.
That's why I had 23
But
BSA. You mean the way it
we
is
have
right
one
now?
that they can
That's
ride
why I
on.
had it.
We need to
I said
change
no.
that.
I'm saying we should fix this one then.
I don't think I've read
Because
that
it's
one
just a
yet.
chapter.
Look at 350614.
See,
pursuant to
506.
Title 23.
3506 14 is,
14, while
You don't have chapter.
14, while operator's license is privileged to operate motor vehicle suspended.
yeah, so the heading is that you may not operate an ATV or permitted to be owned by, well, you may not operate an ATV unless and then you've got the requirement of
Yeah,
the
it does.
license.
If you're 12 years, if you're 12 years of age and he's with his parents or somebody 18 years or older, they can operate anywhere in Utah.
No, that's not,
Oh, yeah, it is?
no, no, it's
Well, show me
actually,
where it isn't.
okay, look at 3506, do you have that?
Yeah,
It's called Operation Prohibited Acts, Financial Responsibility.
Yeah,
Okay, Now you've got, that's got a subsection A and then a subsection B. So go to subsection B, which says an ATV shall not be operated, and then colon. And then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 16.
Yes,
Right?
right.
And 14 requires that you have an operator's license. But go backwards.
Wait a
to-
minute, 14, this is what it says.
Yes,
While an operator's license or privilege to operate is suspended unless operated at local described.
right. You
In
have to have
subdivision.
a license to drive on the roads.
But it also says the operator is 12 years of age or older under
That-
D.
That is
In the
for-
case of an operator under 16 years of age.
Listen, we've been doing this. This is, DASSA has been recommending this. We've been doing this by state law for quite a long time.
Yeah, I understand, but if you are under, look at now, Dave, I'm a
Okay.
lawyer, I actually.
I
this is
know,
what
yeah,
do
I
for a
know, I
living.
know,
I
I know
teach
you're a
it,
lawyer.
So I know how to read the statute. If you look at 3506 B, that an operator, that an ATV may not be or shall not be operated, right? And then you've got
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this may be on page, I don't know what, I can show you on your printout if because I made my own printout. By any, there's any individual that's under 12, and then there's, if you go up the page where it says, across a public highway, see, okay. Look at 3506,
Yeah,
B2,
yeah, B number 2.
right,
D2, not B2.
B2.
B doesn't have a 2.
This does.
No, it doesn't.
So it's
But D has a
3506,
2.
no, it's little b. Where it says an
Capital B
ATV.
under
The
ATV.
little b is the subsection under 3506 that says an ATV shall not be operated.
I don't see little b. That's little b.
It's
right
right
after
under.
Right under 3506.
A, B, yeah.
Shall
I
not
mean,
be
not
operated,
Yeah,
then you turn the page, it says number 2.
Here,
yeah.
Across a public highway, except if all of the following conditions are met. And I appreciate that this is weird drafting, but A, B, C, D, and E have to all be true in order for someone who is, in order for somebody to cross a highway. And so if they're 12 years of age or older, they may, and then this is like big D and big E, if they're 12 years of age or older, and if they are under 16, the operator is under the direct supervision of an individual A2, like you said, but that's only to cross a public highway. It is not to actually drive on it.
Well, it doesn't say you can't.
Yes, it does, because if you go back to where it says little b and ATV shall not be operated, look at sub
Along.
1. Along public highways to be on the road.
And this is where in E, we put in the phrase, under 16 years of age, comma, who has passed the VASA exam.
No, we can't do that. That's contrary to state law.
Oh,
If you're gonna be under, you have to, in order to be an operator, whether or not you're supervised, you actually have, if you are actually riding on the road, you have to have your own license. If you are crossing a public road, you can, so long as you are 12 or older and you're under the supervision of a licensed driver. But that's only to cross.
Can I ask why we're having this discussion? Because if we're saying it's pursuant to Title 23, Chapter 31, subset 3506, and it's in there, that's what it will be.
Well, except that we had this conversation a couple weeks ago about allowing people who are under 16 to drive on the roads, and I want to make sure that's not what's in our version, because that would just,
I don't think we put that in there, did we?
We discussed it.
okay, so it's not, so then, just so we understand how that works.
I mean, I think we have to follow what the statute says and laws, right?
Yeah, I do have to read it. That's what it really says. I mean, I'm not quite convinced yet. But
No, I don't need to convince you,
you don't have to convince me, no. you don't.
but, I wouldn't want to be caught.
But I think
Well,
though,
I can tell you, it's been going on for quite a long time.
right. But I think but that's what we're putting though is under operation of ATV is pursuant to that title and whatever it says.
So we didn't have any language in there about age limits and.
Not that I remember. Does anybody? I can't see the whole thing.
I don't see it in here.
I don't think we did. I
Okay.
think we had the discussion.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it. And I think though, we have to follow what the statute is and we'll put that under operations. And if that's what it says, and then that's up to the officer who's gonna pull somebody aside that says, based on this subchapter, and that's in your ordinance.
Yep.
Yep.
You did it, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I think that's even a better way to just, is everybody in agreement that we're just gonna put pursuant to Title 23, Chapter 31
That
and that
works.
subchapter, and then it covers
That
everything,
works.
and we don't have to try to go through every line item. Is
That
everybody
works.
all right with
Yep.
that?
Yeah,
Shaking
works.
yes.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right, so we're gonna green section 9, and then we'll change all the other sections after that. That's just an important section there. Okay.
You don't want the 3506 in that?
No, just chapter 31
Right.
total?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything
Makes
else
sense.
there then? And then that way it follows all of the statute laws. Okay. I think that covers every subsection, right? Except for, every section except for section 4, the town highways open. Yes? Yes,
Section 6, the time and season of operation.
yes?
I wonder if we might consider changing the timing to reflect the kind of timing that's used in hunting laws, so that it be, half hour before or after sunrise, sunset, instead of having 9 o'clock AM, 8 o'clock PM, because by October 1st, 8 PM, it's been dark for a while. So if we're looking for,
I don't know. If that's gonna be good though. I mean, half hour after sunrise.
Because right now someone could be out riding till almost 10.
Like I get at
Yeah,
5
and
and 5
also you could
o'clock.
be out there in the morning.
It's light at 5
5:30.
o'clock. I get up at 5.
Yeah.
well, you can make it an alternative. Say 9 AM, 8 PM, or the half hour after and before, whichever is earlier.
I think it adds
That's
confusion.
too, that's too,
I
that's
think
too
Maybe
wide
we'll-
open.
Yeah.
That's too wide
I think we
open.
should leave
It's
it.
too open to determination.
Okay,
I'd say
well, just so
we-
you know, that means that we're green
Sure.
lighting
Yep.
operation of ATVs in the dark. You're cool with that?
They're equipped with headlights just like any other vehicle.
Right,
You guys, yeah.
with high beams.
And they have, the ones I saw this weekend had backlights.
The only problem, it's a great suggestion, Pam. But the only thing that I would see is just like hunting season, where people will say, well, it's just, you're supposed to go by a certain timeline. But a half hour after sunset, you listen and you go on to every website and everything, you see what time it's supposed to be.
Right.
Everybody stretches it. If it
I
is 8
understand.
o'clock at all, it's no 8:01, it's 8 o'clock.
I get that.
I don't know, I mean, unless there's another way to word it, I don't know how you're gonna do that.
Well, this would be an example of a section that if there was interest in dealing with the fact that the days get shorter and shorter quickly in the fall, that we just put language in there that says that, we want it to read in a way that makes it clear when that would be. But if the majority wants to say that ATVs should be able to operate on town highways in the dark, then
I mean, I get what you're saying, it makes sense, I just don't know how we can word that without it being confusing.
but we don't have to. That's what I'm saying. We just have to put, like, this is what we wanted to say. The legalese part has to be done by somebody who.
I
does
just think,
this.
I think it would make enforcement of the times and stuff pretty much impossible. I mean,
Okay,
you
then,
can't-
then you are saying that you're good with them operating in the dark.
I'm not saying I'm good with them operating in the dark, but I'm just saying,
I just can't believe most people wouldn't, most club members, ATV people. There's always a few, but most of them wouldn't be operating in the dark, and they wouldn't do
I've never
So
ridden
once
in the
they
dark.
would,
it.
then
No,
worry
I
about it.
can't imagine, I mean.
Well, the ones that would are gonna break the law no matter what you put in for the law.
That's-
They're gonna put
that's
enough
true.
people to write a
That's
law
true.
that-
They're gonna ride on the roads that you don't want them to. They're
Yeah.
gonna.
All right, so
And
let's
just-
call,
and just one quick, just for reference, September 1st, sunset is effectively 7:29 PM. So if you're giving a half an hour after,
Before sunset.
before sunset,
No,
No, you
No,
said after.
a half an hour
in the
after
morning it's
sunset.
before,
Right,
at night.
yeah, I'm talking about at night.
But you still, the sun setting is actually not when it gets dark, right? That's before the gloaming.
It's half an hour after. So the same thing like with hunting rules and the state of New Hampshire ATV rules.
So that's
It's-
September one. What's the September 15th
So I didn't do the 15th.
or October one?
But October one is, so September 15th is 7:03. So you're a half an hour after is 7:33. And then October one,
which is when we close it.
That is, that's what I was gonna say.
October
Okay.
1st.
October one is 6:33, so
Right, so
you're,
then by
7 o'clock.
September.
7:03,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
if that's what you want to, if that's what you want to approve, just making sure that you know what you're approving.
All right, so does anybody want to change it? No, all right, so it looks like the majority, we're gonna keep it at 9 AM to 8 PM. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, let's move to our favorite section of. Oh, yeah.
technically, October 1st is the first day of bow hunting. I was gonna ask if we do, do we keep it there or we
Or do
do
you want to do it to the 20th?
September 30th? Should anybody thoughts? I just want to make sure.
Oh, so it's not into both.
That makes sense.
So you're not technically in bow season,
Right.
so it should be, technically, it should be September
30th.
30th.
That's less confusing, actually,
All right,
because you know you're ending it. There's nothing.
we definitely wanted to
Right.
end before hunting season.
Right.
You
Well, I just
wanna-
want to, yeah, you want to be courteous to folks.
safety,
And that's a couple of the landowners we've already spoken to.
Or like, we really don't want you there.
Well, yeah, they want their, time for the woods.
To do,
Yeah.
Makes
They
sense.
want to get in their blinds for,
okay, so
Everyone good with
is everybody
that?
okay? We're gonna change that so that it coincides with the hunting season.
And what is our start date again?
May
May
15th.
15th.
That's generally when.
and again, that's always going to be subject to, and I don't know, the, whether it's club or town, that's always subject to weather conditions. I mean, there's trail conditions. If the trails are poor, then we're not going to open them on the 15th. I
If
don't
it's
know.
still muddy or something like that.
You can put a,
It says unless
Ankle.
otherwise posted.
I think that fits.
Okay. Okay, any other section discussion before we move on to 4? All right, so I know when I talked last week, I know that it's gonna be hard for us, I think, maybe I'm wrong, to come up with the roads we would like to present to the select board. So maybe it would be easier to have the ATV club, because I know you've done a lot of research and hearing what other people have said, Tim, specifically you, when you were talking about trying to take into consideration things that were brought up with conservation and planning commission. Do you want to like start us off with the conversation of what you'd like to propose?
And with Brad and Pam in mind, actually,
Okay,
I went through and looked at a lot of the roads where we could connect with Barnet, that's in the works. Could still connect to Tunbridge, that's in the works big time. And if we stick to one road, which is Seawall, you're gonna get all the traffic. If the town will approve, like Davis, Johnson, and the Back River Road, that is gonna give people options to split off.
Okay.
And you're only gonna get maybe, if you're lucky, to get a third of the traffic. It will give people, most of them coming off like Dave's Road from Barnet, they're not gonna go out Seawall. They're gonna go Johnson Hill right down through. Peter, I have to, with your proposal and whatnot, I looked at that pretty heavy, and Ian's first initial proposal to the town was to bring in some business into town. They won't allow us to go to Back River Road into the town. That's a given. So I honestly don't see any way around Automero to be able to bring business into town. Do I see a lot of traffic? You're gonna get some traffic. Again, most are gonna head, if there is connections to Tunbridge, they're gonna head there. they're gonna obviously go to Crossroads or Worthy Burger for lunch. I mean, that's gonna be a destination, just like even up north, there's a place over in Lowell Montgomery area called Cajuns. It's 50 miles from me. That's where we head for. And we make a loop. We don't go out one way and right back the other. So a lot of, I'll say Dave and me, we go out for a leisure ride at night. I don't see, a big concern that we've been talking about is the speed, the traffic and all of that. There's a lot of, up north, there's a lot of trails that are on the roads. You will see 99% of the side bys or four-wheelers pull over for any traffic comes in behind them. They have to be equipped with a rear view mirror for that reason. Vehicles have the right of way. We have to give up the right of way. So I don't know what else I can say. I've got a list of roads. Bob's comment at the beginning was to do a very minimal. When you look at all the town roads, what I've got is a minimal, but there's loops. And I'll hand out, I've made enough copies, everybody can see it. It's a long list, but it's mentioned every connection all the way through. And that's what I come up with. That's one road. Yep. Over onto the, and it's, Bob, I don't know where you live, and it is just with the oxbow in mind, it's like to the, I'll give you an instance. Proposal is Adam Lyman's being the trailhead, go up Gee Hill. We've already been mentioned that Russ Hill's out of it. So it's to the Russ Hill in the intersection, and that picks up that Jim Good, which is a private landowner. So, but it stops right at Russ Hill, doesn't keep on going right out through Clarksville and Post Road and all that. So it's a limited section of.
It's not a loop, it's just a spur.
But that will give us on a private landowner up on Gee Hill, that will put us up and over to Happy Hall with a couple other landowner permission that we've got. So, yes, that's what I'm saying, is it's, if you can make the whole loop, this one, and I'm
Yeah, let's see what
careful with that.
you got. And then,
Oh, no, you don't have to.
handouts.
These are my thoughts.
Well, as a member of the club too, and talking with the club members, would you say, Tim?
What's that?
You would say too, this is like a talking with the club and the club members?
This is, a lot of these roads that are on here are members that have, this would be their access as well.
Okay.
Does the Back River Road from Bridge Street, is that going, that's going all the way to Royalton Turnpike?
Correct.
Okay. So that is something.
That will
the
put you out
club-
by McLaughlin's horse farm.
Right. right.
With that, if you, and I'm sure you've driven it many times, there's McLaughlin's horse farm, and then there's Peter Chat on the far end that are right next to the road.
Mhm.
Other than that, you have very limited housing that's would be affected as far as immediately adjacent to. There's not a lot of houses out through there.
At the very end, yeah, there are those houses there.
Yeah,
right.
you got Steve Lyman, and there's one house that's down back that I know who used to live
Liz
there.
and Russ and Jake's parents, Amy and.
No, but you're talking
It's
about the one that sort of
roads.
sits back off the road down
Yeah.
there, yeah.
What's that? Did you,
It's Rhodes, Nicole Lyman and
okay, what used to
Mitch
be,
Rhodes, is it? That sits down behind Steve Lyman, right?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're off the road.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you're still gonna hear it, but it's not like.
Well, their
Peter
son
Chat
rides
says.
dirt bikes, so
Huh?
their son rides dirt bikes, so they're used to. So,
This is only a suggestion, and then we were talking to the club members and whatnot. And you still got ones that say, well, whatever happens, happens, we're gonna abide by it, but
Right.
we may still ride anyway.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, come on.
Right.
Right.
I'm not, and Bob, I know this is a bigger list than what you had probably thought of. But I'm looking at, if you're dispersing your traffic, it's not gonna look as bad.
Right.
And how many of these roads do I really think the selectmen will go for? Maybe half.
Hmm.
I mean, it's all in how we look at it or how they look at it.
Mhm.
I'm looking at dispersing the traffic.
So how would you get on a Happy Hall? It says from 14. Is that?
That all the way down to,
Oh, all the way down.
all the
to
way
Fourth
from
Ave.
Williams is,
Okay,
because there's Kilmer's and there's Barbones that have.
gotcha.
So is this, I'm sorry,
Don't,
I'm trying to like picture the map and I'm.
Yeah.
I wish I
so-
could have gotten a decent, I almost
Well,
hit Ian up to get a
there's-
decent,
There, I mean, if we flip that map over, I wonder if there's a way, because that was,
Is this one or
I don't
two
know.
crossings of 14? Is this one?
Oh, this is wonderful.
that was
To go to
kind
Gee
of,
Hill.
right?
to go across.
If you were
the
gonna-
hill.
Connected to you.
Is that helpful for people to look at the bigger one? I brought my little map today. too.
But that's only gonna be relevant if you can get permission to cross 14,
Correct,
correct?
correct.
So if you can't get permission, then basically it's just taking and splitting 14. Is what you're doing, saying if you're on the Gee Hill side of 14, you can ride that. If you're on
Yeah.
the river side of 14, you can ride that until there's a legal crossing.
Correct.
Correct.
I would think that would be an easy place to get a legal crossing.
Wait,
Right, well,
which one's
because the
that?
traffic is slowed
The Gee
down,
Hill, the
slowed down
Royalton
both
Village,
ways. I would
well,
think that.
the town
I'd be
Sand
surprised
Crest
if
or
they would
whatever.
do that.
Right. Well, that, do you think that there would be concern with, by the state with that, with the overpass then being close by, the railroad overpass?
I'm the wrong one to answer for that because Ian's got the traffic study and all of that. It's, again, it's up to the state. We were keeping 14 off from it because we
Right.
can't.
Can't put it in the ordinance, right?
I could tell you right,
14
you got
cannot go in the
concern.
ordinance. It's only town road, so
Oh, right,
that,
right, we kind of-
so we're not even talking about 14.
Yeah. no,
Correct,
That shouldn't even be a part of the
That's what-
conversation.
yes.
down to it, but it wasn't. all
Right,
across.
exactly.
Well, I guess my concern about it is that you have, divide the ordinance request here. It says limited sections of town highways for the purpose of connecting recreational trail system to neighboring towns. There are no systems in neighboring towns at this point. And so it seems to me that, you can do what you want with these roads, but the loop that goes out of Merrill to get to the so-called restaurant bonanza is ridiculous. That doesn't join with anything else. It's, it's a non-starter. Not connect with any other recreational trail system.
What if we had something in the ordinance that said, for it to take effect, we need to have a memorandum of understanding with the neighboring town about the roads that they are opening up and that when they, so that kind of like a trigger, so that when they approve roads, we approve roads, they join, they can be used then, but that to be true to the wording of Article 7 and our mandate that it not take effect until there actually is access to other towns.
You have your initial proposal here to the town. You had a banner made up that said, and I could be a little bit off on this, but it was eventually. No, it was
No,
that you were presenting to the townspeople. You had posted it. Where it was, what your main goal was to bring the business, eventually off from the roads.
Well, there ain't any eventually getting to the Burke or the Crossroads. There's only one route. Well, it's not true. And what Rainbow Street, get the select board to release part of the town forest and to that big landowner that Ian said, and then you could come right down there, that side of things. You just lock people off. Come in there, then you.
I'm not looking to piss
Coming up
anybody
over
off.
Ken Sledge, huh?
Well,
Well,
It used to
whatever,
be in the old days.
but that is an avenue that be a lot less for people who are gonna be affected.
But we do know that Arby's Deli, Crossroads, Worthy Burger does want the business and traffic, right? Like they have said that, yes?
Well, yeah, yes, of course, they want to increase traffic and they're in support and the two of them are, you know, being Crossroads or Worthy, were interested in having parking there. You know, even people didn't frequent their businesses, just to access the village. So I was letting Tim put this list out. This is, you know, there's different discussions we've had on how to approach everything. There's part of me that thinks that, you know, for us to be efficient in our meeting here tonight, that whether we almost need to go through Tim's list one at a time and whether we vote. It's just me talking out loud to make this the most simple process. And or I do have a map prepared also of some of the things, the adjustments and things and how things have evolved as we've gone. If that's where we are.
Well, where are you with like what Pam's saying? Like, we don't open up roads until you know you got Barnard?
That's not usually, I mean, I haven't myself seen that with other towns where that they've made it effective. There's numerous other towns that just, you know, same thing. Take it on in a small parts and pieces, get little trails, little spurs, little fingers set first. And then as the other towns become available, make those connections. That's what I was kind of hoping for, and I do, you know, whether I'm the optimist or not, we are set to meet with Barnard on July 6th. We are working through things with V-Trans on our part in Barnard where we use Route 12. So I don't have that exactly yet. But I mean, I do understand where you're saying that, you know, yes, that's our mission to connect other communities.
It was the vote.
And yeah, that is what we had in the, that is what we had. That's what we're looking to do. So I mean, with part of Tim's list is where we're looking to get to eventually. I know, you know, we've had different discussions because we knew that certain parts of Tunbridge where we haven't put the work in there yet. I just met with the Tunbridge Select Board last night and gave them an update. And they were very interested to see whatever comes out of this meeting in writing to present that to them at the next one. We have our follow-up with their Trails Committee, and we have our follow-up with getting all the landowner signatures that they're asking for. So I guess in two parts, I mean, to me, there's certain things in Tim's list that I am hesitant on, that we could, you know, dive into. In the big picture, you know, these are all places that we're getting off the main highways. These are going to make connections and they are going to reduce the traffic in certain spots. I think as a, you know, just trying to think of how we would work through the list is this is the list to either check yes or no and just go through them and have discussion just to be efficient as a committee, because otherwise we could get lost in the weeds.
How can we do that, though? That would be the weeds. I mean, until we know what recreational trails you have established or towns that have agreed to connect, it's impossible to know which of these connections would make sense.
Ian, did you
Kick it
say
to
you
the
had
select board.
a map?
I do.
Could kick it to the select board.
We should.
What about
Yeah.
taking it to the select board? They're the ones who are gonna be, they all are deeded, they know where the roads are.
Right.
And that's the other thing is that, you know,
I like that
Sorry
one
about
too,
that, folks.
Music
Okay.
provided by Dave
There we
Lewis.
go.
It's got that little kind
with this, I mean,
of piece.
you know, we went back and forth and kind of some discussion, and I agreed with him that just coming out with this list is, you know, this is the conversation starting point, and we could narrow it down from there. And at the same point, we could butcher this right down to whatever we do pass on to the select board, and then as we do continue to gain, our permissions with roads and with connections, then the select board could,
And
take
then-
certain roads out of this.
Right.
I like the trigger mechanism. I think that's all 4 towns around us. Each one has to, pass their things and then we can join them.
I would say each town, I mean, you can't make it dependent on all 4 towns.
Each town.
Just
I meant-
a
I meant each town.
connected town, yeah, if
As you
Barnard,
said,
Barnard
connecting
out the way you
recreation
think
trail
about
system with
then-
neighboring towns.
Right.
I think the goal ought to be to get the trail system in Royalton. And if you had a few roads, you could probably go to the landowners and get some permissions to make.
That's not
trails.
what passed.
How close are we to
Well, it's
connecting
gonna
to
have to
Barnard
pass again
where their
soon,
roads are
right?
open?
So-
Once the July 6th meeting.
Yep, you'll know.
So
So I think that in a blend of what I've got here and a blend of what Tim's got in his list.
we just give those to the select board and then I doubt that they're gonna meet before, well, I don't know if they're meeting on the 5th.
I don't think they,
No,
they meet again until the 12th.
I mean, and I don't even know if it's gonna be on their agenda for that next meeting.
Correct.
it's gonna be on their agenda whether they want it to be or not.
Good point.
I did one with the background and one without.
I do think it's worthwhile considering the guidance that we got from the League of Cities and Towns about our insurance coverage. That as far, Tim, I really appreciate this work that y'all put into this and I also realize that everything on this list has its drawbacks and benefits and all of that. Maybe something else to consider though is on top of this is what the minimum guidance was from our insurance carrier that said, we need to do a safety, have a safety study or at least have some guidance and that at very minimum it should be. This is all in the email exchange that Stuart had with the underwriter
Mhm.
about line of sight, shoulder, traffic volume, the average speed, things like that. I think,
Well, that's what the select board needs to do.
Right.
right, but shouldn't we
Right.
also consider that? I mean, why would that not be part of our consideration? It seems
I
like
think
we're
because-
overlooking-
I think because we're gonna give them what we have and then they're gonna look at that and have to figure all that out.
Why would we not look at that? I mean, why is that not part of our?
Because I don't think we're picking the roads and I don't think we're saying what the roads are. So I don't know what their limitation sections are. I think we're just giving it, letting them pick it. Right? Like they're picking it. I don't think we're picking roads. Yeah.
Okay, well,
We're
let's do that.
unpicking roads because they don't fit with the purpose of the thing passed.
But we were saying, like, for instance, right now, Vesper Road coming out onto 14 doesn't meet that criteria. That's a town road, right? How are they letting cars come out on that? That's why they're changing the single railroad underpass there. I mean, I think
That's
like
obscure and
there's,
Weird,
oh, but that's exactly what's happening. That's what's happening over there. There's parts in our town where that doesn't even apply. I don't know. I never wanted, it's like for me, and even Victoria said to me, it's the select board's duty to talk with the underwriters and the lawyers. Not us.
So I really appreciate Tim's list here. It's got a lot on it. I appreciate you taking our concerns into consideration.
Seriously, I did.
Yeah, I know.
Thank
And I mean, like, that's, I really appreciate that. I still have concerns just because it's not so much about the numbers, just multiple spots where you just can't see who's coming. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So I mean, if this is the list, I think that we need to phrase it when we
Give it to
give
them.
it to the select board and just say, these are the routes that are being requested by the ATV club. This gets published with our recommendation, And then the select board gets to hear from people that see this.
I
and-
agree 100%. And then
They
that, and you
They
need to
choose.
look to see whether it meets the vehicles operation limited section. That's
Exactly.
your job to
And-
do.
That's
All
not
right.
ours.
All right?
So then, yeah, that's what I think
So we
that's,
don't
I
need to go through
agree.
the list.
and
I
then we don't
agree.
go through it. They can add things to this if they want
Take
to.
away, decide not to do them.
If people are motivated enough to show that their road does not meet these things.
I think it's good to
Then
give
you-
them that
Then you
information
pass
that
that
you have.
along to the select board,
So we give the
everybody give them
ordinance,
their comments.
put in that information. I agree. And that you can give them that and post that, Pam, and give them those things that you've already
But
written
yeah,
up.
I mean, we could go through, I could tell you a couple roads on this list that I
Yeah.
think I would have issues with. But
Sure.
most of them, I don't think we're equipped to go like one by one and say, oh, this one's no good, this one's no good, this one's no good.
I have to
I
say, I agree
I
with
think
that
this is,
comment.
this is a
Okay.
list that is like sort of a comprehensive thing of what
You're proposing,
they're
take
proposing.
or not take.
And
look
then,
at the-
at that point, you know,
Okay,
Oh, okay, we'll lock up. Thank you,
Thanks.
Oscar.
at that point, then people can express their
People
concerns
can
to the
come in
select
and
board
talk to
about
the
different
select board
parts.
about
and
it.
Right.
The select board might not like that because we're just turning around and putting it on them.
Well,
But at the same time, I think that's,
That's
Yeah,
what they have
I
to
agree.
decide to do.
Yep.
I'm in total agreement with that comment.
all right.
Peter,
I would just throw a side thing in here that I have just a statement on this that may
okay.
or may not be relevant, but I think it's as good a time as any to pass it out here.
And then we'll get back to your maps to see if there's something on there that's not on the proposed,
No, I think
Ian.
everything that Kim has is on here.
I guess what I would do is just, you can read all the rest of it, I call your attention to number 8 down at the bottom, change of concept. Gardens, et cetera, no trail system exists. Club's now trying to create new trails inside Royalton. And of course, I'm talking about the main loop there. So I just wanted to share that because it seemed relevant. to the
And we can
discussion.
share that with the select board as well and say,
Yeah.
you know, going back to what Article 7 says, that, you know, then it really does throw it back to them.
So
Well-
I prefer to make sure this is in the record.
Yeah, we can put it in and
Thank you.
attach it with the minutes to that. Yes. Everybody okay with that? Well, I mean, it's like all our other information we received.
My understanding is the purpose of connecting recreational trail systems within South Royalton,
No,
with which connects to neighboring towns. Because you can't connect to neighboring towns if you don't have a trail system within South Royalton.
Right.
And we're not just, it's not just saying we're using town roads to connect to Barnard or Tunbridge. It's to use town roads to connect to trails that connect to,
okay, that's.
so it's not like taking Happy Hollow all the way to Tunbridge.
No, but-
Right,
But
right.
I see that as a loop that's being created in town. It really doesn't have much to do with connecting to other. trails.
Well, I think
You can't connect to other towns if you don't have a trail system.
we don't have a trail system, that would be first,
Okay,
and then connect those trail systems to, then you use
Right.
roads to connect them to.
Well,
And the only way you can create a trail system is by accessing some of the town roads to be able to connect, to create those trail systems. That's my
There's
understanding.
definitely a chicken and the egg problem.
Well, I think that is true. I do think that the way Article 7 was written, I don't know that what we're doing is really that, but that's not really for us to determine.
Right.
I think, you know, at this point, that argument would just lead to us saying, well, we can't come up with anything because it's not doing that. And I don't think that's
Right.
gonna get us anywhere. We can't just send something to the select board that says, yeah.
But
We have
Peter,
a
you,
motion, should we have a motion to propose to give this with our
yeah, so,
information to the
yeah, so let's,
select board, pass it on to them?
so just to finish Peter's handout, so Peter, you're just gonna make that change on 8 and then let's make the motion to add that to our, what, you have something else?
What is he changing on?
Well, I mean, I don't, I mean, this, I mean, this isn't the consensus of our committee.
No, no,
so
no,
this
it's
is
just
him
Peter, it's just
Giving
Peter.
public comment.
No, but
So-
Right.
everything that we have.
So I don't think there should be motions on whatever Peter has, because then we're effectively.
No, I'm
Well,
just
no,
saying
you should make
to,
motions on it.
No, but it'll still be in the minutes.
What I
So they'll
wanted
look at
the
it.
motion on was a list of.
yeah, we'll
proposed
get,
roads,
yeah, we're gonna
and we
get to
would
that.
say this is what the ATV club is proposing as a possible set of roads.
Yeah, so Peter, it probably would be better to just then put your name and not say ATV ordinance drafting committee, like this is what we all said. This is your comments that you want put into the minutes.
Well, it's got to
Okay,
say
I'm
on
a
it.
member of the committee.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's-
it's not for all the committees.
put member or something like
No, I mean, I'll put on in the minutes that this was something that he wanted to put in. the-
Yes,
in the
exactly
minutes,
right. Okay,
that'll be
exactly.
good. I think it's got his name on it, so.
Yeah, and so it's clarifying that it's not
It's not speaking for the whole
for the whole
committee.
committee, that's all. All right, so move, and then you said you wanted to make a change on 8 though, right?
No, I'll do that for the next draft of this. I don't know exactly what I changed. We'll probably have that trigger in mind.
All right, well, you can do what you want. But, all right, so now getting back to the list of proposed roads though, but did you want to talk a few minutes about your map and anything that's different there? I just wanted clarification on that you've given to us.
Sure, what, in keeping the interest of having something that gets to Barnard, where we are currently, in the process of doing a 1111 permit as a club to cross Route 14 at Atlantic Plywood, and in the process of getting that set. Whether we then propose to the town, I have no idea. So right now, that's pretty much just shown as a dead end at Route 14. So from Royalton Village Trailhead in the center of the map.
Right here, where you have the little box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a little tiny box there. Sorry, I
Yeah,
should have done
that's
it
fine.
bigger to be like a symbol.
Is that,
Um,
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I get this right for a minute. So this, where it says Royalton Village Trailhead, is that the Atlantic Lumber?
No, that's the
That's lines.
Lyman towing
Got it. And then the Atlantic Lumber,
is where the
Closer.
that red line dead ends.
Right in
got it.
here.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
okay.
14.
All right. And you said you are already
We're working on the permits for
for the permits for,
crossing. Route
Crossing
14.
Route
so is
14.
JASA applied for that?
I have the form, just got sent it today.
Okay,
And we have to do an 1111 permit to do the crossing based on the 2021 guidance.
okay.
But until I get that in hand and get the horse in front of the cart, it's not worth asking for the lower part of Royalton Turnpike is what I was thinking.
Oh, 'cause
So-
it's a dead end.
Well,
It's
where would
dead.
it go then?
So for right now, it just goes to there. It's just a trail to get down to
It's
the
their private trails.
people's, it's a
Right.
private trail.
Got it.
Yeah.
The red part.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, but otherwise, we're proposing that we would have an oxbow trailhead in our lower field, which is, if you look to the east central part of town, there's a little boxed in leader that says Oxbow Trailhead. Where we'd have that red loop
Mhm.
there, that then goes, on the red section up is the class 4 part of Autumn Merrill. Comes down to Back River Road, only does Back River Road up to Johnson Hill. Uses Johnson Hill to get to Davis Road. Potentially does a loop of Sewell Brook Road. And/or does Russo Road straight to North Road. We've got the private properties set so we can stay off of North Road, we just cross it. And then follow the Russo Road to Rhodes Hill and Barnard. And a very similar map to this is what I'm sharing with Barnard on Friday, because they have to have it in their agenda packet for the July 6th meeting, considering the holiday. And so then it also has the Oxbow Blue Line spur that goes down into town, as you know, Tim had in his notes. So We do have the initial verbal approvals for the folks that are in between Gee Hill and Happy Hollow. It is part of our long term, but just with the uncertainty of it, that I haven't put it on the map yet because I, wanted to get everything finalized, and in the interest of keeping things limited to this year, I mean, this is the map that I had, but at the same point, I think that Tim's list is a good discussion starting point. And I mean, there's parts of it going back to some of the things like when I've had conversations with Loretta was, she gets complaints all the time for the kids that are out, and they shouldn't be kids out riding on the road anyways. But the people that are out riding on Happy Hollow Road, that, whether there's an ordinance or not, that they're gonna be out there riding. And the hope is if we can do this right and do it with, so we have something that's legal to give people a place to go. They won't just be driving back in front of their house like, oh, I'm gonna leave from my house in Happy Hollow, I want to go up Bricks Road and then I'm gonna drive back. Because they don't have anywhere to go. The intent is, as these kids grow up, or we can, get them in safety courses and work with them, or have something as a town club.
And they'll have to
We
be
can all have
VASA
it.
members, right?
What's that?
They'll have to be VASA members and
Yeah,
have the,
correct. Correct.
registration and all that.
And, eventually just give them a place to ride so that it's not illegal. I didn't write a summary. I should have sat down and wrote a summary as well. I've got a lot of thoughts and with different stuff here. And I just guess in closing that, I understand we may be a minority. There may not be as many obvious riders as there are residents, but through this process, I've seen an overwhelming number of, residents come to me with saying that, keep doing what you're doing it right, proposing it right. It's a long road, and just keep working with everybody. And that's all we'd like to do, is just exist and work with everybody. And I get it. It's not worth going through Tim's list one by one, but for right now, this is what I would like to see in the map. If, and parts and pieces of this are all there. Everything that I've got shown in red that isn't class 4 is, we've got the approvals for. And it's just a matter of growing it. And I know to some, it's like, oh, you just have a dead end part, or until Barnard is definite, you have a dead end part. But even if we don't get Barnard, and we have the trailhead where we're allowing it on Oxbow, people can ride Automera Road, do a loop around the southeast end of town, stay away from the horse farms. And I know, Tim, you and I may disagree with that. That was one of my things that I always wanted to stay away from.
Yep.
That part of Back River Road. I do think that people could be responsible for it, but at the same point, I want to respect them at the same point. But by having this on the map, it does get us a place to get out and ride, come back down Johnson Hill, and then come into the town if you want, and see if we can do this without completely pissing everybody in town off.
So looking at the map, Ian, I'm gonna take Johnson Hill and kind of that little segment first, just because it made sense to me. But the roads that we're proposing is allowing also to access private property to be able to create a trail that would get you off, say, Johnson Hill on private property to get to Barnard. Is that the
I
plan?
mean, certainly, I would love to try to continue. I know that, the conventional idea is, oh, well, why don't we see where the Snowmobile Trail is? Unfortunately, because it's so much different.
Right.
Everything's different. There are some, we have to find different, stakeholders in our proposal that are willing to give us those permissions. And I think there are some different ones that, it's just a matter of figuring out how to get through the woods here and there. Maybe there's different parts where maybe we can get on Johnson Hill somewhere easy, get off Johnson Hill for a certain section, and then maybe come back on it. Then if we find someone else to give us permission, get off Johnson Hill for another section, and then maybe tie on here or there. I get it, where it's a lot of the cart before the horse, or having it be a legitimate ordinance once we do connect to other towns. Where that we're trying to get established, this goes back to things I've said from the beginning. We talked about only being a private club. If we're just gonna have private lands to ride on, then, you know, why even do a basket club?
I
No,
mean,
but I mean,
I'm
so
wondering,
hold on,
is
hold
that
on.
something you're
I'm
interested in
saying-
doing as a
We
starting
did
point?
that, so we talked about that when we started, before we even decided, do we want to put the work into being a Bassett club? Because of all the insurance that comes with Bassett, because of their memorandum of understanding, and then because of, if you're a Bassett member, you have to have the insurance, and you have to have the registrations. We decided it made sense to be a Bassett club, and that I think that we have a really unique community, that if we can do this right, we can highlight some of the features here. We can get to some nice destinations. And
Sort of big signs through the wildlife area, is that? Just seems to me that putting that smack into the wildlife area, so.
Peter, I appreciate your opinion, and I decided we just have different opinions.
All right, let's get back to the.
So
road.
the
Right.
statute, the state statute requires Bassett or no Bassett, just to be clear with what Ian's saying, that you still have to have registration and you still have to have
Right.
insurance.
Yeah,
So that wouldn't, being a member of Bassett wouldn't change that. So you still have insurance if you're on private.
Your
lands.
own personal vehicle.
Correct.
Liability.
You still have to
insurance,
have your own insurance, right? So what I'm wondering is, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about.
yes.
hold on,
No, actually,
Dave.
don't, you only need a
Give me a second.
registration.
Okay, you and I'll read through the statute together later, Dave. But I'm just wondering. If the club is small, and I appreciate that it is, you know, a work in progress. And initially, when we first started meeting, we talked about starting small. Does it make sense to not have this be a VASA coverage or not VASA trail to begin with, but to start by having it actually serve South Royalton or, you know, its residents or its guests, and then see how that goes. And as that works well for you and people say, oh, it's really not that big a deal, then there's then you entertain trying to get it a part of the VASA system. Because with it being a VASA trail to begin with, it's very much an all or nothing proposal. And I'm just saying this, I think that your chances of this getting recalled, if it's a VASA trail, that chance is very high.
I think it's gonna get recalled no matter what. I'm fully anticipating that.
Well, okay,
all right, so let's get back to the road
I second-
proposal.
Right.
I
Let's get
second
back
Dave
to the road
Lewis's
proposal.
motion. No one's actually seconded it. I second Dave Lewis.
And what was that?
submit
this
this
list?
all
Give the
to
list of
Yeah.
proposed roads. for
Because
ATV.
just one thing, so Ian, there's nothing on your map
That's
that's
what I was
not
gonna-
on
that's
this.
what I
list,
wanted to
right?
know.
Okay, yeah.
That's
then-
what I was trying to get to
Yeah,
here.
let's-
I just wanted to know that.
Submit it.
And do you want this, is this an updated one from what we already
That
had
is an
in
updated
there?
one. There's a date in the corner that
So then
says
let's-
it's the 6/29.
Let's also
version.
add that into our minutes, and if you could send that to Pam, Pamela, so
Yeah,
that she has
I'll
that.
send it to you in PDF. So
I'll just scan.
Okay, excellent, Pamela, thank you. All
It
right,
pays to work somewhere when you.
Yeah, it's scanning, all right, so that's all I really wanted to know as well, too.
Okay,
Okay,
so that's what the motion that
yeah, Dave,
Dave made and
This list.
to do a list of proposed
Ian
roads for
seconded?
ATV ordinance, yes.
Okay.
What Tim is proposing, and then we give it to the select board with the addition of Peter's comments, and with the addition of the draft maps that were given to us by Ian. And so we have a motion made by Dave, seconded by Ian to propose those list of proposed roads for ATV ordinance. Everybody, yes.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, so how will we
I
deal with
think we're-
section 4 in our ordinance? Do we
I
just
think we're
leave
gonna
that?
say see list of
See
proposed
that,
roads
okay.
for ATV
Yeah.
ordinance. Everybody okay with that?
Works.
All right, and so motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, yeah, we got it unanimous. Very good. Thank you. All right,
Was there a no? Did anybody vote no or abstain? No, okay.
Oh, no.
abstain and abstain. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, moving on, I just want to say thank you very much, because I think this worked out way better.
Yeah.
I do.
Like I
did
said, the select board might not think so.
I know,
That's
but,
okay.
but that's what they have to do. That's
That's why
what
they make the
they
big
have
bucks,
to
or
do. Yeah, that's why
whatever.
they do make some money, more than we do. They get $1,100. All right, so approving
Get our
June
bill.
8 meeting minutes, let's do that first. And anybody look that one over and have any comments? Everybody a minute if you need to look at them. I was good with them.
I spelled Rick's name wrong. Oh, wait, no, that was the.
Rewrite that.
I actually started to write in the minutes last week. Pamela apologizes for spelling Rick's name wrong all of these weeks. I may just.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, and so somebody want to make a motion to approve the June 8 meeting minutes? Moved by Dave, seconded by Brad. All those in favor? Okay, moving on to June 15th, meeting minutes. Anybody got any corrections? I think Pam got the hang of meeting taking.
Just in time.
Right
Just in
in
time,
time.
like you.
Like I love even the 22nd. All right, any comments or anything on June 15th? No, all right. Somebody want to make a motion to approve the June 15 meeting minutes?
I'll move.
Second.
Motion made by Gidget, seconded by Brad. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to June 20. I mean, there's also recordings. People can read all the recordings.
Right.
Listen to them, I should say. June 22nd, meeting minutes, the ones we just got. Anybody have any comments there?
I do.
Gidget, go.
There's one about the membership. I think you put 80% as members are out of state, and my notes say 80% are in state.
I sent Victoria immediately responded, she's like, "Set a typo,"
Okay.
and I was like, yeah, I put it. So I sent her yesterday a
Okay.
rewrite, or I just actually crossed that out and put in state.
Okay,
And she said she posted it, so it should be up there.
yeah,
Okay,
that's all I
so
have.
Yeah, thanks for catching. that.
Anybody have anything else on June 22nd meeting minutes? All right, hearing
I'll
none. Moved by Gidget, seconded by
I'll second.
Tim. Motion made, seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
And I asked Victoria because I didn't know how we were gonna approve these minute meetings, and she said actually what she did is she called VLCT and they said as long as we post the meeting minutes that you do, unless there's some kind of objection to it, they'll stand, just not be approved by the committee. So, okay, because I wasn't quite sure how to do that.
Right.
So that's what she wrote me back and said.
So, so I see Don Hayes is here.
Oh, yes.
Is that Victoria, do we know?
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is Don Hayes, and I just got the link and decided to view the meeting.
Okay, that's
I'm happy.
excellent. You view away.
Hello, Don.
And if the
Good evening,
person,
Pamela.
yeah, if the person named V would like to be listed into the meeting minutes, you can say who you are and we can put your attendance. Yes, it's me. I have no input, just listening. So it is. Thank you, Victoria.
Would you like to be V? I can-
Yeah. All right,
alternate
very
thing.
good. Okay. I just want to thank this committee because I know it was not an easy task of what we were supposed to do, but I think for the most part, we were respectful to everybody and tried to listen to everybody. And I'm sure we'll see each other when the select board comes together and talks about it. And I honestly don't know. I'll have Gidget send me the final draft of the ordinance and then send it out to
That'd be
all of
great.
you.
Yeah.
So you'll see that ordinance before I send it. Why don't you guys look at it and I'll tell Victoria, I'll send it like on Monday or Tuesday to make sure if there's anything that you guys see that needs to be corrected or changed before I send the final copy off to the select board and to all the members. Does that sound okay?
That's good. Perfect.
It's okay to leave it with all the markups? Or do you want me
I
to?
would say take out all the markups and
Okay.
do that,
So
but not until, yeah, do it and then have everybody do one final read over. And then that's what we'll send to the
Yeah,
select
do like a
board.
save as before you take it out of review mode, because sometimes it gets funny when you go in between review mode.
Yep, I
Because
think,
that's when you lose all the mark.
Yeah, so I think it would be good to send it without it.
Save-
And then,
You know, you can save 2 copies, one with
yeah,
the,
save as for that one and then
Right.
save your,
one with
Right.
them accepted.
Final.
Then
That's
they'll
actually-
see how.
Mhm.
that's
it's.
an excellent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
Okay, anyway, so that's what I thought I would do. We'll send that out to everybody, and then if you just get, well, you know, Fourth of July weekend, but try to look at it and get back to me maybe by Monday at the latest, and then I could send it to Victoria for Tuesday, okay? If you see anything glaring that's different. And again, I just thank everybody for working
Been
and.
an honor, people.
Yeah,
Yep.
you guys.
Thank you.
Very, very
Yeah,
much. Did we motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Okay.
don't make a motion. You do
Didn't
it,
expect
Brad.
that,
That's your
did ya?
favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
No, you good.
All those in favor, get up.
Just
Bye, everybody. Bye, Victoria. Bye, Don. Bye, guys.
We'll see.
See ya.
You know, when